Very good morning to all present here. I welcome everyone for the 8th day of this webinar series on Vistas in the fields of research and innovation. Today's resource person is Dr. R.T. Narendra Kannan, Assistant Professor of Biochemistry. He is going to deliver his talk on gold nanoparticles, a milestone in cancer therapy. Cancer, it is a deadly disease. If a person cannot take medication properly, then cancer cancel their life. I would like to invite Dr. V. Selvi Madam, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Biochemistry, to welcome the ARS gathering and to introduce the resource person. Madam, please.
Yeah, very good morning to all who have connected through the Google Meet for today's session of the webinar series on gold nanoparticles, a milestone in cancer therapy. At the outset, I extend a warm welcome to our President, Dr. M. Arichami sir, and our beloved Secretary, Dr. C. A. Vasigi Madam, a dynamic personality who is the guiding force behind the conductance of this webinar series for the benefit of the students, faculty, and the society. I would like to welcome our Principal, Dr. M. Lakshmanasamy sir, and our Dean, Research and Development, Dr. S. Palasamy sir, for this webinar. I am extremely happy to welcome the organizing team of the webinar series, Dr. M. Vijay Lakshmi, Convener, Dr. M. Vigneshwaran, Coordinator, and Dr. M. Revati Bala and Mr. N. Sendil Kumar, Organizing Secretaries. I wish to extend a warm welcome to all the participants of the today's morning session of this webinar series. It is my pleasure to welcome and introduce the speaker of the today's morning session, Dr. R.T. Narendra Kannan, Assistant Professor in the Department of Biochemistry, Kongunadu Arts and Science College. Dr. R.T. Narendra Kannan has completed his graduation and post-graduation in our institution and completed his PhD at University of Madras, Chennai. He pursued his postdoctoral research at Masaryk University, Brno, Czech Republic. He has 15 years of teaching and research experience. His area of expertise is medicinal plants and their therapeutics on diabetes, cancer, and nanobiotechnology. He is an active member in various professional bodies and he visited 19 countries for the academic and research purposes. To his credit, he has published more than 49 research articles in both national and international journals with the cumulative impact factor of 39.6. He has received Young Scientist Award from DST SERB, Government of India, in the tune of 25 lakh rupees. He also received travel grant from SERB International Travel Support Scheme to present a paper in World Congress on advances in nano, bio, robotics and energy at Kintex, Seoul, South Korea. He is a recipient of various prestigious awards such as International Outstanding Research Faculty Award at Colombo, Sri Lanka, Outstanding Faculty Award for the Year at Thailand, and P.K. Das Memorial Best Faculty Award 2017 in Engineering stream. He also received Achievers Award and Best Researcher Award from Cornea Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. He has participated in the team of Vice Chancellor to visit 3 institutions in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in Israel to establish research collaboration. He has visited to Faculty of Technology, Makasarakam University, Thailand as an invited guest to the Biotechnology Department for research collaboration and joint supervision for PhD scholars and postgraduate students. He has visited Institute of Biophysics, Academy of Sciences, the Czech Republic under bilateral exchange of Indian scientists selected by Indian National Science Academy. He has organized several national and international conferences sponsored by DST SERB, DBT India, CSIR, BRNS DAE, and ICMR Government of India. He has delivered more than 35 invited lectures and research presentations in national and international conferences. His research articles were cited in more than 1,080 research articles in international journals as references with the H index of 18. He chaired scientific sessions in 9 international conferences. He has edited and compiled 4 scientific books with ISBN numbers. He is serving as a technical editor and reviewer for international scientific journals. He is serving as scientific advisor for KOS Bioinnovations Thailand and research consultant for Zoom Hielsen Healthcare Systems Bangalore. To his credit, he filed a patent of his research outcome and the patent published in IPR India. At present, he is the member of Secretary of Institutional Animal Ethical Committee of our institution. With this introduction, I request Dr. Narendra Kannan to take over the session. I hope you all will enjoy listening to his lecture and get benefited. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your wonderful words.
Very good morning, one and all present here. Thank you, ma'am, for your introduction. Today's my topic is gold nanoparticles, a milestone in cancer therapy. In this session, I just take up 3 different areas. One is about the cancer and how much it affects in a human all over the world. Then next, I just talk about the basics of nanotechnology. And third one, how the nanoparticles against the cancer, it works on against the cancer. And the fourth one, just I want to show my publications, my work where we have worked on gold nanoparticles for cancer therapy. So in cancer, it's the second largest cause of leading death globally after cardiovascular diseases. And is responsible for an estimated of 9.6 million deaths in 2019. Globally, about 1 in 6 deaths due to cancer. There are 70% of deaths from cancer occur in low and middle income countries like India. Around a third of deaths from cancer are due to the 5 leading behavior and dietary risks. So this totally related to that food what we are taking it, and high body mass index, low fruit and vegetable intake, lack of physical activity, tobacco use, and alcohol consumption. Tobacco use is the most important risk factor for cancer and is responsible for 22% of cancer deaths. So 1 woman dies cervical cancer every 8 minutes in India. For every 2 women newly diagnosed with breast cancer, 1 woman dies out of it in India. So mortality due to the tobacco use in India is estimated at upwards of 3,500 persons every day. So the smoked and non-smokeless tobacco, we both are accounted of more than 3,17,928 deaths, approximate men and women in 2008. So with these statistics, we just move on to that. What are the common cancers and deaths occur due to the cancer? The lung is the top one. Lung and breast cancer is leading cancers, which is occurs in India, followed by the breast cancer, colorectal, prostate, skin cancers, and stomach cancers. So among these, there are these 5 cancers are causing the death very frequently: lung, colorectal, stomach, liver, and breast cancer. So here the top 5 is lip, oral cavity in men, lung, stomach, colorectal, esophagus. These are 5 top cancers which occurs for men. Breast, cervix, lip, oral, lung, gastric, which are top 5 in women. So coming to the cancer, here you can see the both images. One is a cancer cell, another one is a crab. So why here the crab is mentioned as a cancer, or we can see cancer in men for crab. So this cancer, we can see the crab, it can move any direction. It can go all the 8 directions without any, this is the only animal which can move. Likewise, cancer can travel throughout our body through the bloodstream, which we can call it as a metastasis. So from one point to another point, the cancer moves. We cannot predict which direction which is the secondary location of the cancer. So this is a group of disease involving abnormal cell growth with the potential to invade or spread to the other parts of the body. These contrast with the benign tumors. So benign tumors, what we can call it as benign, it's mainly what we can see our moles, and we can call it as a macham or small lumps, which is called benign tumors. So this will not spread. So we cannot call it as a cancer. Possible signs and symptoms include lump, abnormal bleeding, prolonged cough, unexplained weight loss, and change in a bowel movement. These are the symptoms which can predict as of cancer. So this indicates a cancer and also have the causes. There are more than 100 types of cancer which affect human. Now we can see the difference between the cancer cell and normal cells, right? So the normal cells, we can normally the regular shape, proportionate size, it's a proper size, and in growth is very controllable. That means that at the end of the, for example, RBC, it's only 180 days, it can survive, then it will die like apoptosis. Then maturation, each and every cell gets matured and cell differentiation occurs. And it communicates well through nearby cells. So visibility to immune cells, and also this will be the major one. Then angiogenesis during repair. Only when the particular part has damaged, that particular part will be getting produced angiogenesis, and that part will be cured by the supply of blood. And it requires oxygen. Glucose, it requires a glucose as well, high energy efficiency. Also, it will produce 36 units of ATP per glucose, and alkaline. It's a nature of cell environment is alkaline, and the nutrients mainly for fat, ketone, glucose. So the totally different from the normal cell. The cancer cells are irregular. The cell size itself shows, the cell shape itself shows it's a cancer cell, and it will very larger one and a darker one. So it's a growth, it's out of control. So we cannot predict that, we cannot stop the growth of this. There is no self-stop like apoptosis. It is not apoptosis in the cancer cells, and it will be immature, doesn't mature also, and they will not communicate the neighboring cells, and it will invisible to immune cells, and it will go with the angiogenesis produced only for the tumor cells, which can supply the oxygen and glucose. And doesn't like or require much oxygen, and loves and craves for glucose. So that once the blood vessels forms through angiogenesis, it will supply the glucose, will be taken up by the cancer cells, and it will grow very high. And it produces only 2 units of ATP. The condition is very acidic and glucose. That's what we should not take the more acidic food, like very charred food or very fried food. These are all acidic food. Not like acetic acid, that's different. But a food which can prepare by ourselves, which will become acidic. For that, we have to get alkaline foods like cucumber, like any other fruits. These are alkaline. So this alkaline environment will support for the normal cells. Acidic environment will support for the cancer cells. So we know the treatment, it starts from the 1950s. The concept is to flood the body with substances that are especially toxic to tumor cells. That is the concept of treatment. So the drug that is especially toxic to tumor cells usually also toxic to normal cells. That is the problem in present cancer therapy. So if we treat the cancer cells by chemotherapy or radiation therapy or immunotherapy or hyperthermia, so all these will affect the normal cells also. That is the major side effect. It will damage the normal cells. So that will be the problem. And stem cell transplantation, the peripheral blood, bone marrow, and cord blood transplantation. This will not support for all the cancer types. So these are the list of side effects which can the cancer therapy due to the majorly anemia, appetite loss, and we can see the number. Normally we are seeing that many advertisements or news are in. You can see that in cancer institutes there are so many type of hair loss and fatigue, flu-like symptoms, infections, lymphedema, urinary bladder problems. There are so many things, side effects. So they're currently limited to surgery. Now, if you go for cancer therapy, it's limited to surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. These are the 3 major therapeutics which is used for cancer. So all 3 methods are risk damage to normal tissues or incomplete eradication of the cancer. So we cannot eradicate the cancer cells 100%. Now the part of nanotechnology, it offers the target chemotherapy directly and selectively to cancerous cells and neoplasms. So this is the focus or aim why we are moving to the nanotechnology, because we can target the only cancer cells by guiding them by surgical resection tumors or enhance the therapeutic efficacy of radiation. So based on the current technology. So this can up to decrease the risk to the patients and an increased probability of survival. So here nanotechnology, what is the application? So yesterday, even 2 days before, Dr. Manimegalai from chemistry department, she explained about the basics of nanotechnology, what is that and how it is worked, what are the field. We can show for microbe, material science, molecular biology, applied mathematics and computer science, electrical, chemical engineering, and physics and all. So how are the comparative size of the nanoparticles? It is less than red blood cells. It's approximately the type size of DNA, right? We will see that later. So we can get the nano size is 10 power minus 9. So this research in nanotechnology now that cancer therapy mainly extends beyond drug delivery into the creation of new therapeutics, right? So there are small compared to cells. Nanoparticles are very small. It's the size of DNA, are large enough to encapsulate many small molecules compounds. So it can easily penetrate into the cells because it's a very smaller size than cells. And it can be functionalized with ligands. So we can attach any ligands that may be talked by tomorrow. Dr. Jayanti may be talking about this, as well as yesterday, Dr. Madhes also spoke about this materialization, functionalization of this term, and including small molecules, DNA or RNA strands, peptides, aptamers, or antibodies. So anything you can ligand, we can attach to the nanoparticle and we can work it up. Then combination drug delivery, we can multi-modality treatment and combine therapeutic and diagnostic. You can say therapeutic and diagnostic. The both we can use, so we can call theranostic. So the physical properties can be energy absorption and radiation. Can also used to disrupt disease tissues, is an laser ablation and hyperthermia applications. So it can be defined as design, characterization, production, and application of structures. So devices and symptoms by controlling shape and size. This shape and size is very important in nanotechnology, which is used for cancer therapy. So in medicines, there are enhanced drug delivery with interest also in vitro diagnostics, novel biomaterial design, bioimaging, therapies, and active implants. So American Society of Testing and Materials, their standard definition are particles with lengths that range from 1 to 100 nanometer in 2 or 3 dimensions. This is the ratio, this is the range of size of the nanoparticles. So most studied nanoparticles are carbon nanotubes, gold nanoparticles, cadmium, selenide, quantum dots. So here you can I can say there are 800 numbers of 100 nanometer particles. Side by side, you can match in the width of the human hair. So here you can see that edge of the human hair. Here in this point itself, we can fix 800 numbers of 100 nanometer, not a single 1 nanometer. It's 100 nanometer particles can fix in the edge of the human hair. So this is approximately 2 nanometers DNA, 10 nanometer immunoglobulins, a virus of 50 nanometers, 10,000 nanometers RBCs. We can just show the video in this. It's just overall idea about that nanoparticles for cancer. So hope you have a basic idea about nanotechnology, how it works on cancer, and how the historical study, we can see that how it started. In 1964, the first one, the liposome structure, that was published. So liposomes is nothing but that lipid membranes. So that why that liposome is because it's our cell membrane is also lipids, made up of lipids. So liposomes can be easily merged with the cell membrane, so the drug can be easily targeted to the cells. This was a certain delivery of low molecular weight compounds using silicon polymer. And in 1976, the first controlled release polymer system for ionic molecule and macromolecules. Then in 1980, the first targeted liposome. So liposome, they started with they were made ligands with the drugs. And discovery of EPR, enhanced permeability effect, and the long circulating PLGA, as well as the PEG. Then in 1995, the liposomal doxorubicin. The doxorubicin is the one of the cancer drug, which was merged with the liposomes so that to enter into the cells. So it was approved by the FDA in 1995. Then PRINT technology, particle replication non-wetting technology, was developed in 2005. Then NAB, paclitaxel, approved by FDA. The another one, the paclitaxel is the first drug which was identified for the cancer. So this was approved by the FDA. Then in 2007, the polymeric methyl paclitaxel was introduced in Korea and also marketed in Korea. Then first targeted small interfering RNA was in the polymeric nanoparticles, entered in clinical trials in 2008. So iron oxide nanoparticles, nanotherm, received European regulatory approval for cancer treatment. 2011, the cell membrane coated nanoparticles developed to evade immune response. And protein biomarkers in 2014, and recently 2015, the thermoxetol as an imaging agent to predict APR and nanotherapeutic responses. And these nanoparticles, how we can have a physical property. Once we prepare the nanoparticle, we have to go for a physical and chemical properties, physiochemical properties, we can say. So it should be we have to design the size, surface, and geometry, and roughness, electronic, magnetic, optical, elasticity, stiffness. All these we have to design while you preparing the nanomaterials. And for the structural composition, it can be used for liposomes or polymeric nanoparticles, micelles, dendrimers, and protein nanoparticles. There are so many, and metal derived nanoparticles like gold, silver, or platinum, and carbon nanomaterials and hybrid nanoparticles. So we can identify, we have to design the target ligands. So what type of target ligand we can make? It can be antibodies or aptamers or proteins or glucose or sugars. So this, once you prepare this, then we can go for, we have identified the serum protein interaction, right? So the serum protein interaction, how our nanoparticle can deliver to the tumor tissue, including interaction with the serum proteins. Then it will be a plasma concentration, blood circulation, how it entered the blood circulations. Then we have to check the biodistribution, how much it will uptake by the tissue. For example, liver. For example, if here you can see the liver is the highest uptake of, why means liver is always taken up whatever the materials we enter into the system. And liver will try to eliminate it if it is a non-biological material. So that's why that liver taken up in the highest concentration. Then the vascular extravasation. So this can be the perivascular tumor microenvironment through the leaky tumor vessels and penetration within the tumor tissue. Then tumor cells targeting and the intracellular trafficking could be make it up. Then that we can go for nanoparticles can be also designed to control the release profile and payrolls and injected dose. Now we can already be seen up to 1 to 100 nanometers. So the unprecedented interaction with the biomolecules on the surface and inside the body cells, leading to cancer diagnosis and treatment, the theranostic. So this encapsulated with other agents may show toxic potential. Now we come to the gold. Gold used in the 2500 BC itself. Now in India, we used to call it Swarna Bhashma. The gold used to prepare the Ayurvedic medicine for revitalization and rejuvenation during the old ages. So this, and the problem is this will create the problem in kidney and liver. As I told, liver will uptake most of the materials which is non-biological, and we will try to eliminate that. So if you are taking more Swarna Bhasma or in the form of bulk material, that's what we are coming up to the nano size, not in a bulk size. So it has been mainly used for Swarna Bhasma, used for treatment of syphilis, arthritis, psoriasis, epilepsy, and rheumatic diseases. Now there you can see that why there is not mentioned about cancer. Now we are using this gold with a different perspective that we can see in the future slides. So gold nanoparticles, we can use it as drug carriers, photothermal agents, contrast agents, and radio sensitizer. These are the major reason why we are focusing on gold nanoparticles. The gold nanoparticles, it was started in Michael Faraday, 19th century. The first scientific paper in gold nanoparticles in 1857, describing the production of colloidal gold by the reduction of orochloric acid by phosphorus. This was the first gold nanoparticle synthesized by Michael Faraday. In the 20th century, after the development of transmission electron microscopy or atomic force microscopy, this enabled the direct imaging of gold nanoparticles, and control of properties such as size and shape, surface coating was refined. So after this technology emergence, we are trying to make it up whatever the required type of size and required number of required surface. So common method how we prepare gold nanoparticles, the production include citrate reduction of AU3 derivatives such as tetrachloric acid in water to AU0, and the Brust Skiffrin method, which uses two-phase synthesis and stabilization. So now recent years that there is a boom in gold nanoparticle research. So firstly, it's a considerably relatively biological, non-reactive. That is the major advantage of these gold nanoparticles. And this will not, comparably silver and cadmium, gold will be in vivo, the applications compared to the very toxic the cadmium and silver, but gold is less toxic. So other advantages is a strong optical properties of AUNPs, gold nanoparticles, due to localized surface plasmon resonance, which is easily controllable surface chemistry, which enables versatility in adding surface functional groups. And lastly, the ease in control over particle size and shape during synthesis. So while synthesis itself, we can design the particle size and shape. And another one is gold nanoparticles are multifunctional, with the possibility of combining different desired functionalities in one molecular sized packages. Right. So this you can see the different colors and different size of the gold nanoparticles. Right. And after preparing the gold nanoparticle, we can use it for photothermal therapy, targeting the particular cells, and we can use it as a vehicle for drug delivery. And these are mainly toxin for microbial agents to remove the unwanted microbial agents. Then you can use as adjuvant and dye for imaging the particular cells and nucleic acid delivery. So the size depending, which therapy are mainly the photothermal cancer therapy. So many gold nanoparticles molecule used in each test, and they must all be uniform in size. That's a major one. So pegylated coating is measured approximately 130 nanometers in diameters. So this drug delivery, in the drug delivery system, the conjugation with the chemotherapeutic drugs typically 10 to 100 nanometers. So different size we have to find. If you are going to conjugate it with the chemotherapeutic drug, the size would be 10 to 100. If you are going to pegylate it with pegylated coating, it should be 130 nanometer size. And the ability to tune the size and absorption of gold nanoparticles, these molecules can vary in colors they emit. That's what it's a color from vibrant red to pale blue. You can see that it's a red to pale blue. The size of very small nanoparticle will be red, and it will be bigger size. It can be, for example, 130 or 150 nanometer size can be a pale blue colors. So cytotoxicity, that's a major one why we are applying for the cancer therapy. It's a degree of inherent toxicity, right? The toxicological profile of these nanoparticles are discussed proceeding to their usage of cancer management. And this lack the ability to induce adverse and acute toxicity. That's the only another advantage. It will not induce acute toxicity, right? And also much adverse effects. And the decreasing the size of nanoparticle with this more widespread tissue distribution. So if you reduce the size, you can increase the tissue distribution. Also heighten the potential to deeper penetration. So how much you reduce the size, the penetration to the cells will be higher. And certain tissues more effective internalization by the cells. And the major thing is surface uptake interactions with cellular constitution by modifying the size of the nanoparticles. Coming to the first one, photothermal therapy, it's a central application, major application for photothermal therapy. That means that gold nanoparticle can absorb incident photons and convert them into heat to destroy the cancer cells. Here you can see that how it can be done. For example, the normal cells can survive 46 degrees temperature, but cancer cells will die in 42-degree temperatures. So if you control the temperature over the cancer cells by using this gold nanoparticle, you can spread over the gold nanoparticle over the cancer cells. Even to the it will also spread to the normal cells also. But if you give the only 42-degree maximum temperature, the cancer cells only will die. Normal cells will not die, because normal cells withstand up to 46-degree temperatures, right? And this will be abnormal vascular structure of tumor inefficient, and also tumors are more sensitive to hyperthermia than healthy tissues. That's why it's a 42-degree and normal cells will be 46 degrees. And this is due to the mainly localized surface plasmon resonance. So this is how. So you can put on, we can distribute the nanoparticles over the cancer cells, and we can help tumor cells, and you can give the near infrared laser. It will produce the reactive oxygen species. So this reactive oxygen species will damage the cells. So that will create apoptosis or necrosis in the cancer cells. So here we can see that I told you, like 42-degree temperature is our 100 Fahrenheit. The cancer cells will die, and the normal cells will die in 105-degree Fahrenheit or 46-degree Fahrenheit. So here you can see the normal cells, healthy tissues, and these are gold-coated cancer tumors. Then the second one is radiofrequency therapy. So this is that another application of this gold nanoparticle through in the cancer therapy. It's a destruction of tumor cancer tissue cells through the differential heating of cancer tissue by radiofrequency diathermy. So the gold nanoparticles are excellent absorbers of X-rays due to its high atomic number of gold. So the differentiate heating result of the blood supply in the body, carrying away the heat and cooling the heated tissues. This allows for a higher mass of the element, providing a greater area of X-ray absorption. So you can spread over the gold nanoparticles. You can provide that radiotherapy, radiofrequency, so that it will absorb more X-ray cells. So this, in contrast, is injected into cancer tumor cells to result in a higher dose of the cancerous tissue being exposed during the radiotherapy treatment. So additionally, gold nanoparticles are more efficiently removed from cells of healthy tissues in comparison with the cancer cells. So here you can see that example. There is a Mustafa of nanomedicine. They have mentioned about. They have explained clearly. So this is the gold material is injected rats, and here you can identify where it will be the cancer cells, because the cancer cells absorb gold nanoparticles very easily. So you can observe where this higher gold nanoparticle shows that, and you can provide the infrared, and you can kill the cancer cells. And I think this video is not working. Now the angiogenesis therapy. What is angiogenesis? Means that the genesis of new blood vessels. So if here you can see that cancer cells are here, but earlier we have seen about cancer cells needed glucose. So how this cancer cell will get glucose? It's only the blood vessel should come to that reach the cancer cells. Otherwise, it will not receive the glucose. So this is another mechanism of our cells can they let them, normally our body have a tendency to try to provide the nutrients to all the cells, whether it is, our body will not accept whether it is a cancer or normal cells. So automatically there is a new formation of blood vessels towards the cancer cells. So now we have to cut this, we have to stop the angiogenesis. So tumor progressions mainly occurs the transition from a tumor into dormant proliferation stage. So here the results in the spreading of inflammatory proteins and cancer cells alongside newly created blood vessels. So here it's the ability of nanoparticles to inhibit angiogenesis by directly coordinating the heparin binding growth factors. This will inhibit phosphorylation of proteins. Also in all concentrations, 335 to 670 nanometers, almost complete inhibition of phosphorylation. Why? This is inhibiting the function of pro-angiogenic heparin binding growth factors, HGGFs, and also vascular endothelial growth factors. So the basic fibroblastic growth factors, these are all the major one which can promote the angiogenesis. So our gold nanoparticle having a capacity to inhibit the function of these three materials. And then there are some studies have shown that the size and surface charge plays an important role in inhibiting of these effects. And coming to the green synthesis, how one of the type of synthesis of nanoparticles is green synthesis. That means that nothing but using plant materials. So isolation and fabrication of gold nanoparticles from natural substances may provide some benefits over the traditional synthesis methodology. So here we can go for a biological, either using microorganisms or plants can synthesize the nanoparticles many useful characteristics such as carriers to deliver drugs as they are found in non-toxic inert. So why we are using these plant materials is phytochemicals. So what we will see that what is that. So here we used with grapes. So we are using a grapes to reduce the gold into nano size. Why is grapes having the polyphenols, it's secondary metabolites. The reservoirs such as anthocyanins, epicatechin, catechin, gallocatechin, stilbenes, flavonols, phenolic acid. These are rich in phytochemicals, which is more useful for a medicinal having. And we tried with the grape pulp, grape peels, and grape seed. And compared to all these three, grape seed have a more number of phytochemicals, which is comparatively grape peel and or you can grape skin and grape pulp. So the phenolic compounds from grapes have a biological activities like cardioprotective, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, antioxidant, antimicrobial, and anti-aging properties. So the antioxidative properties of grapes are widely studied, which shows inhibition of lipid oxidation, free radical scavenging, and reduction in hydrogen peroxide formations. So these phytochemicals are powerful antioxidants which present in grapes, act as a reducing and stabilizing agents. Functional groups present within phytochemicals could provide a coating on the gold nanoparticles. So this will provide a toxicity to the skin cancer cells. And this, while you prepare the gold nanoparticle using the plant material to enhance the bioavailability and limit to the toxicity of the chemopreventive agents. So this you can use to selectively target cancer cells, and the phytochemicals that are occluded within the nanoparticles can serve as a potential anti-cancer. So already we have a gold has a very good anti-cancer properties. Along with we are combining with the phytochemicals. So these phytochemicals also having a potential anti-cancer properties. So both joined together, we can have a more efficiency in killing the cancer cells. So this is one of our publication which was done with Anna University, Chennai. So in this, you can see that after addition of Vitis vinifera peel extract to the chloroauric acid solution, within 10 minutes, a change of color of the solution from yellow to purple. It was noted, signifying the formation of gold nanoparticles. It was confirmed by UV visible spectra analysis showing the plasmon wavelength around 540 nanometers. And a rapid increase in the synthesis of nanoparticles were observed with an increase in reaction time due to surface plasmon resonance leading to oscillation of electrons to gold nanoparticles exhibited color in the solution. So earlier we have mentioned about the color from red to pale blue, right? It generally documented the UV spectroscopy could be used to examine size and shape of controlled nanoparticle in aqueous suspensions. Right. In this, you can see that there are different UV spectra. There's a transmission electron microscopy results are there. Also, zeta potential and size distribution. So the TEM analysis where revealed the core size of the Vitis vinifera gold nanoparticles to be 20 nanometer to 40 nanometer size with a spherical morphology, predominantly confirming the formation of gold nanoparticles. So they showed the thin layer of Vitis vinifera around the gold nanoparticles, which might have provided stabilization and act as a nucleation. And the size distribution, the hydrodynamic size of the particles ranged from 20 to 80 nanometer with the mean diameter of 52 plus or minus 6 in the diameter of the nanoparticles. The particle size analyzer, which can calculate the diameter of the gold nanoparticles coated with the phytochemicals extracts. The stability of the gold nanoparticles distributed is decided by the mutual repulsion and attractive focus present in the nanoparticles within the approach of another. So aggregation occurs with a zeta potential of Vitis vinifera gold nanoparticles found in 20 plus or minus millivolt, confirming that the particles have less tendency to aggregate, exhibiting initial stability of the gold nanoparticles. So we have studied the stability and size, diameter through this with this paper. And another one we have just checked with that in RSC Advances. So here we have the FTIR analysis that shows that the spectra of the grapeseed extract and synthesized nanoparticles compared to analyze the changes before and after bioreduction of the peak. Here you can see that the FTIR spectrum 3724.5. So here it's the grape seed showed the presence of strong peak. This is O and H stretches of the phenols and alcohols with the hydrogen bonded. The sharp peak in 2009-26, it also shows that represent the CH stretch, 2926 CH stretch with the alkaline group and OH stretch with the carboxylic acid group. And the bands in 1755, yeah, this is a carbon-oxygen double bond stretch with aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acid, ester groups. So these are all shows that in the gold nanoparticles also having the combined with the phytochemicals, which is present in the seeds. And this one, it's a extra diffraction. We get a 2 theta division. So gold nanoparticles, a Bragg reflection corresponding 111, 200, 220, 311. Since the lattice planes of gold are located at 2 theta, 38.28, 44.43, and 22.10 respectively. This proves the phase-centric cubic crystalline formation of the gold nanoparticles and indicated that sample is composed of crystalline gold. That average crystal size calculating using X-ray diffractograms. So they suggested that the presence of gold nanoparticles in this. So here you can see that apoptotic cells were clearly visible among the seed gold nanoparticles treated cells. So here morphological changes such as roundedness, irregular cell shapes, and stressed cells were evident nearly the fluorouracil drug targeted cells. Here the gold nanoparticle targeted cells. The other publication is dependent on the chemopreventive potential. So in this, so we have seen that a cumulative number of papillomas in this. In the control, we have given the control DMBA induced nanoparticles, DMBA grape seed nanoparticles. So DMBA is the agent which can cause a cancer. So here in DMBA there are 37 number of papillomas we identified in the animals, and we have seen with the peel nanoparticles and seed nanoparticles. The comparatively grape peels, the grape seed has a higher activity on against the cancer. Here you can tumor incidence, tumor yield, tumor volume, tumor burden, so average latent period. So everything which proves that the gold nanoparticles has a very good anti-cancer agent. And here you can see that the human skin papillomas in DMBA and TPA also induced rats. So DMBA and TPA induced animals treated with the grape seeds. So you can see that the topical application of this gold nanoparticles is during the initial stage of DMBA and promotional stage of TPA. The induced skin papillomagenesis significantly reduced the tumor burden, and the development of tumor commenced 4.5 weeks, and it was evident in the carcinogen-generated groups by the end of the 8th week. Right. This gold nanoparticle treated group exhibited delayed onset of tumor, 14.2, 15.3 weeks. So tropical application of 50 nanometer Vitis vinifera peel and seed gold nanoparticles delayed tumor formation. The tumor formation we have earlier we are giving them administrating the gold nanoparticles, and we are providing the carcinogen. So this will delay the formation of cancers. So the taking of in the previous very early slide I told the low intake of vegetables, low intake of fruits. So we have started eating these fruits and vegetables regularly. So this may prevent us from many diseases, including cancer. There's another one is cytotoxic apoptotic cell death. We studied in the A431 cancer cells. So here you can see the effect of Vitis vinifera seed extract and grape seed nanoparticles products in the reactive oxygen species in A431 cells. This is a control treated with this is treated with the H2O2, then treated with the NAC, treated with the fluorouracil, and other one is treated with grape seed extract and grape seed nanoparticles. Here the last one, you can see that the green fluorescent staining clearly indicates the significant induction of apoptosis, a process which eliminates hyperproliferating neoplastic cells. That means that the proliferation is one of the characteristics of cancer cells, which can form multiple of cells. So this will eliminate the hyperproliferating neoplastic cells. So the fluorescence shows that the gold nanoparticles eliminate the proliferating cells. It will be a protective mechanism against the cancer. Right? To conclude, our results suggest that the Vitis vinifera grapes seed has a more gold nanoparticles functionalized with the phenolic moieties. Suppressed abnormal skin cell proliferation occurred during the DMBA-induced skin phosphorylated. So hypothetic mechanism in our studies or in general studies, the enhanced permeability and retention, this is the one EPR effect, which is generally thought to be the product of leaky tumor vasculature and poor lymphatic drainage. Then it's a nanoparticle protein interaction blood circulation, extravasation into the interaction with the perivascular tumor microenvironment, tumor tissue penetration, tumor cell initialization. The nanoparticles, for example, size, geometry, surface features, and elasticity, stiffness, porosity, composition, and targeting ligands can influence these biological processes, thus determining the enhanced permeability and retention effect and therapeutic outcomes. In future perspectives, so as we discussed about that, the gold nanoparticles over past decade has indicated their potential for a rich variety of applications. And understanding the chemical synthesis and biobehavior of gold nanoparticles, because here we need to study more about all these things. And understanding will certainly lead to more practical clinical applications. The use of gold nanoparticles for drug delivery and photothermal therapy was proved for phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials. At present, it's the phase 2 clinical trials. Although gold nanoparticles offer an attractive platform for new novel modalities for cancer imaging and treatment theranostic, it is very important to be carefully and precisely study their toxicity in potential application for human. It's a major one. And the gold is relatively inert for biotissues. These nanoparticles tend to remain in the body, especially in the liver and spleen for long time. So we have to identify to the removal mechanism of these settled gold nanoparticles in the liver and spleen. Thus, the long-term toxicity of nanoparticles are an issue for their use in humans. And we can conclude with that, consider non-cytotoxic overall with the expectations. Despite their small size, they are likely to be rapid. So we have to reduce the size of these nanoparticles so that we can rapidly excrete it through kidneys. So in terms of localized non-specific cytotoxicity, study results are mixed with some studies demonstrating no cellular toxicity and other demonstrating production of cellular reactive oxygen species, apoptosis, necrosis, and acute mitochondrial activity. And sufficient accumulation of gold nanoparticles inside the body can cause non-toxicity, as demonstrated by the fact that gold nanoparticles accumulate within the liver tissue, apoptosis, and acute inflammation. It causes acute inflammation and increase the Kupffer cells and can occur. So therefore, known that the toxicity of gold nanoparticles greatly depends on their specific size and configuration. So in this junction, I extend my thanks to our president, Dr. Archami sir, and our beloved secretary ma'am and secretary and director ma'am, Dr. C. A. Vasugi ma'am, and our principal, Sir Dr. Lakshmana Swami sir, and our head of the department, Dr. V. Selvi ma'am, and the organizers, Dr. Vijayalakshmi ma'am and Dr. Vignesh. Also that Dr. Organized secretaries, Dr. the Ravati Bala ma'am and Sendil Kumar sir, and the technician, Mr. Hari. And also I extend my warm thanks to the participants. And these are my recent publications in these gold nanomaterials. And with I supported work with my Institute of Biophysics in Czech Academy of Science, Brno, as well as Masaryk University, and at present in Kongo National Science College. Aim high, work hard, dream big, and don't forget, believe in yourself. This is the final note. And let food their medicine, let medicine be their food. So we are taking up the fruits and vegetables can prevent the diseases like cancer and many other diseases. Thank you, one and all present here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation, which is highly informative. I request the participants can post their questions or queries in the chat box. Sir, first question.
Yes, sir.
What is the rate of recurrence of the tumor cells again after the treatment with gold nanoparticles?
Rate of recurrence.
Yes.
Right. It depends on the patient. How he is continuing his dietary habits as well as his food habits. It's a major one. And how he is continuously continuing his medications.
Next question, sir. How gold nanoparticles are targeting cancer cells?
I told you, no, that gold nanoparticles has a sensitive one. the nanoparticle, its size is very small, and normal cells have a regular size and shape, but the cancer cells have an irregular shape and size. So it's automatically this gold nanoparticle can enter into the cancer cells. So we can target it like.
When nanoparticles are used for treatment, is it causes any side effect?
Definitely, nanoparticles is the metals. So metal nanoparticle, you can get like gold or silver or cadmium, or platinum. So it's a metal only. Metal normally our system considers is a toxic only. Definitely it will be toxic, but we are trying to reduce the toxicity by conjugating with the plant materials, so that we can coat the nanoparticle over the plant, we coat the plant materials like phenolic compounds or these things will reduce the toxicity. See, you can go for a passive doxorubicin, whatever the available cancer therapy, chemotherapy drugs are very toxic. So automatically it's toxic only, and we cannot say any medicine is non-toxic. All the medicines are toxic. Only we have to prevent ourselves by using the good food. That's the method.
Can you explain how to select non-antigenic compound for drug delivery?
Non-antigenic compounds for drug delivery depends on the cells what we are going to target. Whether we are targeting the cancer cells, or we can go for any liver cells, or going for a pancreatic cells. It depends on the target cells. We cannot say overall this is the only method to select for the antigen. So it depends on the cells.
So how to overcome the side effect?
Side effects. Side effects we can say only with the phytochemicals. That means that avoid the junk food, take the natural food like more fruits which have polyphenols. For example, the color of fruits. You can say grapes, for example, it's a very good color, the purple color. The purple color indicates the polyphenols, the phenolic compounds. The phenolic compounds have the antioxidant properties, anti-cancer properties. So more fruits, the more healthy.
Whether gold nanoparticle is used in soil organisms?
Gold nanoparticle is to soil organisms. Yeah, you can use. You will want to. The question is whether to prepare the gold nanoparticle or the is as like fertilizer. It depends on that. Why you are going to put your gold in the soil? Gold we can use it for health. Okay, sir.
Swaminathan sir asked one question.
Gold or silver, which is better? Which shape is better to produce heat? Sir, chemistry is more known about this. Anyway, I think here is the gold to produce more heat. Am I right, sir? Because chemistry person you have to say.
Okay. There is no questions in the chat box. Thank you very much, sir, for your clarifications. The technologies will help the patients to cure them in a quickest and effective manner, since a statistics indicates that 1 in 10 person in India will grow the cancer cells and 1 in 15 persons in India will be diseased. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. K. Nirubama, Assistant Professor of Biochemistry, to propose the vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Sir, may I audible, sir?
Yes, madam. You can proceed.
Good morning to all. I am Dr. Nirupama, Assistant Professor, Department of Biochemistry. I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar series in an effective manner. First of all, I thank our Honorable President, Dr. M. Aruchami sir, who graced us with his presence and guidance. We are extremely thankful to our Secretary, Dr. C. A. Vasuki ma'am, for her words of inspiration, her able guidance, as always encouraging us. Thank you, ma'am. I also extend my thanks to our Principal, Dr. M. Lakshmaswamy sir, and R&D Dean, Dr. S. Palswamy sir, for their help to conduct this webinar series. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. D. Selvi, Associate Professor, Head of the Department of Biochemistry, for welcoming the participants. I thank our today's resource person, Dr. R.T. Narendra Kannan, for his valuable speech, and we are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, sir. From this webinar, the gold nanoparticles are emerging as promising agents for cancer therapy and are being investigated as drug carriers. So this session familiarizes the field of nanotechnology with a focus on recent gold nanoparticles research, which has led to yearly phase of clinical trials. I extend my thanks to our convener, Dr. D. Vijayalakshmi, coordinator, Dr. M. Vigneshwaran, organizing secretaries, Dr. M. Revati Paula, Mr. N. Sendil Kumar, and technical staff, Mr. Hari. Thank you to all to make this wonderful webinar series in a great sound success. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants in making webinar a resounding success. Once again, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your nice words. The participants are requested to join us by 11:45 a.m. for the second session on will be delivered by Dr. A. Ranjita on generation of solar cells. Thank you.